Here we go, guys. Last day. Resident Evil Vendetta 2017. I have never watched this before. I only seen one clip where Chris and this random dude that I didn't know at the time. I know now because I've watched the movie. But they were spinning around in circles shooting at each other, and I was like, that is sick. That's who thought that was great. Who thought I'll talk about that when we get to it. So let's get down to business. Day 9, Resident Evil Vendetta. This was the only movie I didn't watch on release, as I saw the footage of Rebecca that made me disgusted. And like I said, the gunfight was unbelievably terrible. So the synopsis, it starts off like it's going to be a Leon Chronicles. It does. Slow motion, voiceover. Already I'm sick of Leon. Already. I was sick of Leon from the first second I heard his voice. His raspy disgust. And then it's that Mercer dude. But it's strange. When you hear Chris, they're two, they sound very similar. They sound like it's the same dude. They should have got a different voice actor for Chris. And I don't know what they're doing with what he looks like. Everyone in this movie looks like someone squished their face where their nose is. Like it's clay. Like it's Glenn Martin DDS up in here. I don't understand why everyone looks like they're in the rodent family. But anyway, then Chris comes, like I said, looking very rat-like. Almost every character looks like that. Chris is in an all Anglo, 2 Hispanic boys club, except there's this one girl that comes in later, but I didn't see her in the beginning. So if she was there in the beginning, I would have no idea where she was at because everyone looks like a dude. There's one black guy. They're all on this mission. At last, we get to see Chris on a mission. At last. At freaking last. And you want to play games and be like, oh, well, Resident Evil 5 was a mission. That was the games. I'm talking about the movies. So chill. If I say something and you can say, but wait, maybe I'm not talking about that. So they're looking for a dude by the name of Glenn Arias. Of course, that's really on the nose, isn't it? I think it's interesting. That they be talking about, don't talk about politics. Arias, what does that sound like to you? I'm not even going to say it, but what does it sound like to you? If you don't know, that's fine. I wish I didn't know what this sounded like, but I do. So Glenn Arias stole a female operative on their team. I guess the only other girl, aside from that other girl, that sounds like that girl that's in every animated... Like, there's these two people. There's these two people. There's a girl who's... You can hear her voice in it. She sounds like she's literally in every single animated anything that has ever occurred. And then there's a dude that's... I've been looking for you. Got something I'm supposed to deliver. Your hands only from Skyrim. That voice, that dude that's the courier's voice, is literally in every single animated anything. If it's animated, he's in there, just like that girl. And I think that's crazy that you're only getting these 2 Anglo-Saxon people to play in every single thing. And it's like, cool, great, whatever. But guess what? There are other people that can voice, like, honestly, I don't know why it's just these same 2 people, but whatever. Let's continue. So they stole that girl and her son. It's terrible. We see dead children. Yes, we see dead children. And here we go into another mansion. The mansion looks real strange. I don't know why it looks so boxy. It looks like that cottage-looking big old huge house that Cinderella was living in there, but then they made it seem like they were destitute. I don't understand, but it looks like that Cinderella mansion thing. Right away, I assumed Chris would lose all his team members in that dark mansion. You've created this precipice where we think he is so incompetent that I just automatically assume he's going to be the last to walk out this joint. So, by the way, just to let you guys know, they start walking up some stairs. They're stolen from Code Veronica. Don't play with me. Don't at me. Watch the movie yourself. If you don't believe me, it's $3.99 on cable to rent. So the BOWs are still a thing. Par for the course. I really don't care. It's not something that I'm like, oh, I'm so sick of seeing. Like, this is what Resident Evil is. If I'm sick of seeing it, I can go watch something else. The guys find old boy and ask him if he's okay when he's clearly, at best, he's unwell. And somehow he's controlling a toy car. But we kind of get why that happens, but it still made no sense in the beginning. Kind of. But I'll talk about that later. We learned the virus is the fastest working in history. In freaking history. Right off, Chris Redfield is already subpar. His rate of action at the beginning of this movie makes no sense of how he's the way he is later. Which, the way he is later is where he's supposed to be now. Like, that's the best way I can explain it. He's super slow in the beginning. Super duper slow. I don't care if he just saw someone that was the person that he knew. It doesn't matter. Please don't give me that bull crap. It does not matter. Chris needs to stop being incompetent. And I'm glad that most of the movie, he is very decently competent. He's fairly competent. But right now, at the beginning, how quickly he reacts to zombies, especially they're not slow, they're faster than usual, but they're groggy, is far inferior to how Leon does for illogical reasons, because Chris has trained longer than Leon. We start the movie off sucking Leon off for what? I watched the whole movie from beginning, middle, end, and this movie is literally not a Leon Chronicle. It's really interesting. You try to make it a Leon Chronicle, though. I see you. I freaking see you. Stop it. I will slap your hand out that cookie jar. Stop it. This is not Leon's movie. And you guys make sure it's not Leon's movie, but for some interesting reason, we had to start this movie out with him talking and then the end talking. Like, freaking shut up, Leon. No one cares what's in your brain. No one. Leave it in your skull. We didn't need that bad action sequence with Leon in the morgue at the beginning. Just saying. So Leon has a stupid action fight with Glenn, which he loses. He learns old girl is dead, just like her son. Bane is in this movie, quite hilariously. There are other parallels to Batman Arkham City that is so parallel that y'all just need to stop. Y'all need to stop, literally. Why are you taking from other games, other movies to make Resident Evil things? Why don't you look back in your own repertoire and freaking get it to freaking together? Literally just all you did for Code Veronica. You straight up, but I'm saying stop taking from Code Veronica because you know it's great. Y'all know it's great. Y'all are gaslighting me. Y'all are making it seem like Resident Evil 4 is so great. Resident Evil 4 is not really that great. And I'm going to say that literally until my tongue falls out of my mouth. Resident Evil Code Veronica is a way better story and has way more things involved, and it's more complex than anything Resident Evil 4 could have possibly ever done for you. And if you don't believe so, you probably haven't been able to finish Code Veronica because it's so difficult. I, for one, was able to go through it, and if you want to see the gameplay, it's on the gameplay playlist. Check the link below. If it's too hard for you, watch someone else play it. That's completely fine. But I digress. That Glenn dude, he literally, instead of shooting him, instead of doing nothing, he just is like, okay, die with this girl. And she's walking all types of slow. It's crazy. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of dead air when it comes to certain things like, oh, I'm going to kill you. It's like, dude, literally stop doing that. That's just not cool. It takes me out of the whole situation. And yes, I know they need to get out of the situation. So you have to put them into a situation that they can get out of. But sitting there for 10 minutes looking at each other in the face when you could kill them instantly is not how you do it. Try to find another way, because I'm letting you know right now it's not the way. This is not the way. So he reacts to her death like he knew her for a very long time, which I don't care about because you didn't make me care. How about instead of starting with Leon for no reason in this morgue that we never saw in this movie, give us more context to what's actually in the movie. Thank you. Maybe we could have started with this dude at his wedding, and maybe we could have talked about these people. Maybe these people that we're supposed to have sympathy for that are in these boxes. Maybe some talking between her and, because I don't care about Bane and I don't care about his wife. I don't. Sorry. You didn't make me care. You decided to have Leon shoot a zombie in a morgue rather than show me that man's wedding. You did fast forward. You fast forwarded. Like, we're at the wedding real quick, literally no one speaks. Things escalate extremely quickly. Glenn exposits his motivation rather than letting us figure out, hey, he's a wacko because someone blew up his wife, Sarah. He freaking has her arm. This man freaking has her arm. This man freaking has it. Okay. So we're at a place. Rebecca makes her cameo. I actually thought it was going to be a cameo. The way people said this, like, you can't go based on, like, you don't have to go based on what I'm saying either. Just take what people's opinions are and then do your own research. Because the way people were speaking, they made it seem like Rebecca was literally not in this movie at all. She was more in this movie than Leon. But I will admit that Leon was made more prominent. They made it to where slow motion, every time we see his face, like, I really don't want to see his disgusting rat face. Everyone looks like a rat in this movie for some reason. I have no idea why they did that. Whoever animated this movie or whatever, everyone looks like a rat. Like, the only person who doesn't look like a rat is Rebecca, and she still has very sharp features. But we see Rebecca, the BSAA's name is dropped. A schmeasly dude tries to talk to her and talk about, oh, that's a dessert, not a coffee. And it's just like, yo, mama, a dessert. Like, freaking leave me alone. Let her drink her coffee. This movie is like all exposition, just to let you know. So we learn she's a professor through exposition rather than seeing her teach a class or watching her talk to... Why was that so hard, though? Why was that so hard to have her be like, okay, this is what we're doing, everybody? Was it too hard for a woman of her stature to conduct a class? So we're just supposed to believe that everyone's going to listen to her? But you're not willing to show it. We just have to hear, oh, Professor Chambers. That's a problem to me. Why didn't we see her doing something before things went crazy? Because things go crazy quick. But I think it's interesting that you're making all the women like teachers and professors. Supposedly, based on leaks, Claire is to be a teacher in Revelations 3. Like, we're more useful than breastfeeding and nurse teachers. Literally, stop. It's really getting tiring. Like, Jill's retired so she can take care of a baby. Claire's supposed to be some teacher. Rebecca's supposed to be some teacher. All the women are going to be forced to be teachers, honestly. That's what you think? That's what you think. I suggest you stop before I get ethnic up in here. So the academy or the lab or whatever this crap place is supposed to be gets gassed the freak out. They put some dank gas up in there. Nice dank gas. And then insert sexy blonde evil side chick girl. Like, she pulls up. Please be original. Like, I'm so sick. Like, she looks spot on to what that girl looked like in Atlantis or whatever, the Disney movie. That girl, she looks just like her. Like, but whatever. Originality doesn't exist anymore. After the gas kills everyone, Rebecca is the only smart one in the building and gets the test antidote, which helps her. But then she does a dumb thing and goes back outside and sees somebody, that schmeasly guy, feasting. And I know it's because it's horrible that she sees someone she knows that's like dead now, even though technically he could have been saved. Technically, honestly, like, by the end, that's proven. He could have been saved. She sits there and stares at him for like 10 minutes and lets him get close enough. She doesn't die and she doesn't get bitten, of course. And she actually does do something. She actually breaks his skull in. And that's great because, of course, yes, we don't all just run away. So thank goodness she actually had some initiative. But she seems a little bit too strong. Based on Resident Evil 0, she can't hold a Q-tip. But honestly, literally play if you're not going to play Resident Evil, watch me play Resident Evil. Link is in the description to the gameplay playlist if you'd like to see that. Rebecca is freaking so weak that I've had to play Billy and Rebecca one at a time going through a room because she just sits there and gets eaten. She doesn't even pull out her gun. And when she does, she wastes the ammo in the sky. It's insane. It's hilarious. It puts what people think Sheva is to shame. Makes Sheva's AI look like Einstein. But guess what? Billy does the same thing. Billy's not better. He's just more durable. He does the same. His AI does the freaking same thing. Sometimes when I'm playing him, he shoots at the sky. But I digress from that. But what I didn't like was everyone, Rebecca and Chris, act like they've never seen zombies before when they first see them. Literally later on down the line, Chris gets way better at taking out these zombies. Way better. Like, it's insane. It's night and day. But in the beginning and in the middle, Chris looks very incompetent and acts like he can't shoot things. And it's really annoying. And I hate it. And then Rebecca acts like she's never seen zombies before for a second. And I'm just like, I know you can be I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to fix that. But they seemed way too, wow, what is this? Like, you know what it is, okay? The only person who acts like they've fought zombies before is Leon S. Kennedy. So stop jerking Leon off for 126 minutes. Thank you. I think it's interesting that even though Leon isn't in this movie all that much, the scenes they did allow him to be in are slow, so we have to see him for longer. And he's doing way more extreme things. Way more extreme. Way more extreme. Like, I have no idea why Resident Evil 5 had Chris so big, but since Resident Evil 5, they've taken that critique and they've made it to where every time we see Chris from now on, he gets smaller and smaller. He's still beefy. He's still a bear. So stop. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Like I said, Rebecca fends off those things pretty well without a gun against dumb mind-controlled zombies, which we notice that they're mind-controlled very early. She's saved by Chris. I'm literally fine with this. Their interaction is very organic, very cute. It's a kiki. We learn Chris is an anti-masker and an anti-quarantiner. He says Rebecca doesn't need to do anything but take a shower, which is strange. He says if the virus was that contagious, they'd be dead already, which that's a lie. Rebecca literally was given the virus and has the antibodies. The other infected were infected prior, and I'm not saying that the spit and whatnot doesn't have it in there, but the building was shut down and the virus was released in the air. What's stopping someone from doing that? But whatever, I don't know. I don't know. So, New Umbrella, Tricell, name drop. Los Illuminados, name drop. So, of course, we got to talk to Leon because he's the only person that knows about Los Illuminados. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. Where's Ada? I would have rather, please talk to Ada. She was there too. Honestly, we didn't really need Leon. Y'all could have kept him in that tavern. We know that Los Illuminados has to do with this because the zombies seem to be mind controlled. But in the end, we never see how that happened. We never see, in Resident Evil 4, we see that Sadler's scepter or something looks like a whip. It looks like a parasite. And he could have a parasite within him and be controlling it with that thing. But in this movie, we never see how Glenn uses it. We never see him do it in action. We just see him talking. He never really even talks to the zombies except Bane. I don't know. It's odd. It's super odd. And it doesn't make sense how he could have saved his best man and his wife or girlfriend or whatever without, they didn't even talk about how they do all the wrong exposition. I've got questions that were never answered, and I've got answers to questions I would never ask. It's wow, you guys really y'all need help. Maybe, I don't know, whatever. So here's a black guy, here's a girl and a Hispanic dude. So we're good, right? We're good. Rebecca's Asian. We're good. That's all the representation we need, right? So everywhere else, New York is all white. As y'all know, everywhere else is all white as well. Everyone's name is Holga, Sarah, and Peyton. Everyone is white except these three people. But whatever. Okay, I'm done. I'm just interested in how, despite this man not having but 6 lines, how do you end up offending me so much? When you hear him say crack, I was done listening to him when I heard him say crack. Literally. I can't. I'm going to keep going. Rebecca gets to exposit about Resident Evil 0 for 1 second. But you know what? The ending makes it all worthwhile. On their way to see Leon in some tavern, like I said, Leon and Chris's voices are too similar. Close your eyes and see if you can discern. Yes, the way their speech pattern is, I think it's cool because I think the voice actors, Mercer this isn't his first rodeo. However, dude that's playing Chris sounds very similar. Y'all just get any white person and say, can you please be Chris? Literally, you'd get Tom Hanks, I'm sure, if you could. You would probably get Tom Hanks if you guys weren't so freaking cheap. You're probably going to get Chet Hanks and be like, Chadana, when we're going to get that for Chris. Probably. Based on this, just because Chris is white doesn't mean you can literally just close your eyes and grab the first Anglo-Saxon of the Caucasus Mountain man that you see on the street. Please have some do better. I don't know. There's been 9 different voices for Chris, and Leon has stayed around the same, very similar. You don't have to get Roger Craig Smith because I'm pretty sure you don't want to pay him as much as he's worth. But at the very least, find someone that could sound like Roger Craig Smith. You can literally find anybody's voice on YouTube if you look hard enough. There are a million Kermit the Frogs. There are a million Miss Piggies. Find them. Find these voice actors. Stop getting the same people or getting your baby cousins who don't work. But as I was saying, funny they switched Leon and Chris's alcoholism and lack thereof from Resident Evil 6, which was to cause conflict, but it makes no logical sense in the timeline. But they try strangely to add info about Resident Evil 6 to make it make sense. It's really weird. It's weird. Rebecca says something stupid. Leon and Chris are alike. Let's talk about that, shall we? The only thing that's alike about them is their voice. Their voices are very alike. Their mannerisms are different. The way they talk is different. Their personalities are different. Chris was an alcoholic in Resident Evil 6, if you don't know. Now, Leon is the alcoholic. And they're blaming Resident Evil 6 for that reason. So there's just like, you don't just not become an alcoholic anymore. It made more sense for Leon to be an alcoholic because he's just like that scumbag. But honestly, I understood why Chris was an alcoholic in Resident Evil 6. I didn't like it. But I understood it. And y'all are just wish-washing it away. It's like, well, Chris is the straight and narrow now, and Leon's the one that's on the bottle. Like, pick your side, okay? You're straddling the fence way too much. You're gonna split in half. Rebecca also does another stupid thing and screams about how she's got magic blood. So people are watching her, and they catch her and get her because of that. But this movie takes from The Walking Dead and says the virus is dormant in people living and dead, which is literally only something that we saw in The Walking Dead before everybody else started stealing from it. So after telling the truth about Chris and Leon to their faces about how they're losers, not how they're similar, but how they're losers and they need to get it together and stop acting like brats, Rebecca quietly gaslights herself in the bathroom into believing she was too hard on the boys. Oh, that wasn't nice of me. That wasn't friendly. Too bad. Freaking too bad. Suck it up, buttercup. Then she's captured because, like I said, she was screaming about how she's got magic blood. Leon is drunk and screaming and punching a dude that comes in talking about, you gotta help me. And he's like, oh, this is the dude that ratted me out, because he talked about it. And I didn't talk about it because I don't care. But he comes in and he starts slapping him around and says that his family's in danger. Way to go, Leon. He's a real hero, right? Slapping people around who says his family's gonna die. That's a great person. While he's punching this dude, Rebecca is literally being captured and Bane blows several caps in the tavern they're in. Leon answers that dude's phone after he dies from the bullets, and literally his wife calls, and instead of telling her he's dead and hanging up like just any regular person, it doesn't have to be freaking Superman, have some moral greatness, but he literally just sits there and listens to her cry, and then he hangs up. How cruel can you be? Like, I know you're drunk, but you think that you would just throw the phone on the ground at the very least if you're drunk. These people don't know how to drunk, but that was ridiculous. Rebecca awakens. Of course, like some sick freak, Glenn dresses her up in Sarah's dress. He has guests sitting at the table in boxes because they're decomposing, which makes no sense. I think it's interesting that the viruses not only help you but hurt you. It's like vampirism, where you're weak to things but you're also super strong. It's strange. I wonder if anyone's ever made that connection before, but it's really sick. He's like, oh, this is where I got stuck, and it's just like, yeah, no kidding, you're freaking stuck, you sicko. It's like the biggest sickos have all the money. It's really insane. Freaking tax the rich, tax the crap out of them. They don't need all these resources if they're not going to do anything to save people who are on the streets. Rebecca is really calm, which I'm happy about because she's not completely weak. Strangely, she tells him every single thing she knows. Her blood type, freaking where she lives, freaking where her family lives. She tells every single anything about her. We learned in that conversation. Everything about that. He's the bad guy, just to let you guys know. At this point, the only thing that she is captive. He has no weapon against her. He takes off her handcuffs and she insists on confessing everything to his face rather than acting like she's a dipsy girl. This girl boss moment makes her look stupid. As usual with male writers, they wrote her like, what on earth? This is exposition, by the way. This is something that could have easily been fixed if you guys actually cared about. I'm just going to call her Holga, that blonde woman. I don't know her real name. Maybe it's Holga, maybe it's not. But Bane, his wife or whatever, his girlfriend, she looks fine. She looks like she wasn't blown up at all. So there's really nothing that tells us, well, maybe she could have been Frankenstein put together. Bane looks like, yeah, he was big. And he got bigger because he put the virus in him. But literally, there's no scars that indicate that this woman has been sewn together and created a new person. But at the end, it's implied that she's like Wesker and has like the best bonding with this virus. So, but it's never explained. Like I said, they don't explain things that we need explanations for. And then they give us every single thing we would never have asked for in a trillion years. A trillion years. So she sits there and she's like, well, I know everything about your virus. I know how it works and I've got an antidote and we're going to do it. Yeah. So what about that? Even though I have no idea where Chris and Leon are, you could have them and no one will help. But let me tell you every single thing. Now tell me this. If Leon or Chris was ever captured, do you think they would sit there and cross their arms in captivity and tell every single thing they knew to the villain who has no weapon on them or gun, forcing their confession? Do you think that would happen? Or do you think it's because it's this girl and these male writers don't know how to write women, so they just make them dumb and make them tell everything, and that they're going to blame it on, oh, well, how are you going to know this exposition? Let me tell you, I just watched the movie, and all I can say is what I would have done was made Holga talk to her and pretend like she doesn't want to be a part of this situation. She could get her to tell her everything about the virus, because she was like, I want to get out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. And then she fakes it. And then she tells Glenn, easy peasy lemon squeezy. And maybe we can get some exposition from her to see what happened and who. And then maybe, hey, how about we actually get a scene of the wedding rather than just seeing him smile at his wife for a second and then see the island blow up, then see Sarah's arm. How about you guys not start the movie in some random morgue with Leon that we never go to in the movie? We never go there, just to let you know. Like I said, every scene is exposition. So this loser forces Becky to look at home movies. How did she not figure out he's pulling a pigman sausage farm, dyeing her hair and marrying her? Like, he intends to do what that dude did to Luann in King of the Hill and take her and try to make her, but technically it wasn't him, it was a guy that he was going to marry her off to, but you know what I mean. He's going to play this game where, oh, you're going to replace her. And I think it's hilarious, it's sad, it's every single thing under the sun that you can imagine. All your senses are tingling with this, let me tell you. So this man's rich, right? He's selling BOWs to the highest bidder. He's rich. Filthy, stinking rich, able to move across the country in 2 seconds because he's got a jet. He can do whatever he wants. So he insists on stealing this girl and holding her and forcing her, quote unquote forcing, because I don't see anything forcing, because even when he does grab her, she pushes him away and he starts crying. But forcing her to marry him and giving her no monetary funds to compensate for her life being destroyed. He's rich. Why not say you can have all the riches you want as long as you pretend to be Sarah? You know, no, guys don't even go for that before going to straight up, let me just do whatever I want to you. Like, they don't even try to say, hey, you know what, equal exchange. But we have to be some sort of equal exchange. We have to give up something equal or more of our value. That's patriarchy for you, honestly. He's rich and he's gonna do this. Dum-dums. Surrounds this girl with rotting bodies for free. We learn Bane and Sexy Blonde Villain Woman are Glenn's friends, like I said, which is pretty cool. We didn't have to have exposition for that part. We are shown the picture and then we're shown them. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Wasn't that easy? It would have been a lot easier to start this movie with the wedding, because Leon had really almost nothing to do with this movie. To be quite honest, you guys should probably give the motorcycle Leon uses as a weapon. Yes, he uses a motorcycle the entire time as a weapon, more than a gun, it's hilarious. It's freaking hilarious. You should be giving that motorcycle he uses as a weapon its own credit, because it had more substance to offer the movie than he did. Why'd we start with him? I will keep asking that. Tell me in the comments why. I really don't care if someone tells me, oh, well, originally. I'm not here for originally. I'm here for what's here. And what's here is a movie that's not really a Leon Chronicles, but it looks like it's trying to be an imitation of one. I literally wish this show don't tell was carried throughout the movie, but it's not. It's tell, don't show. It's tell, show half. It's tell, barely show your ankles. So Leon and Chris's parts are very boring for the most part. Without Becky there, it's like she was carrying the scenes. She was carrying the scenes. And again, women are carrying this, and y'all insist on backburnering them and making them damsels and making them... Honestly, Rebecca is not a damsel in this movie. I will take it back. For what people have said, me watching it, Rebecca is very not much of a damsel. She's captured, of course, yes. But there are many things that go into being a damsel. She fights back. She actually has agency. But what I don't like is that she gives exposition to him for no reason. He had no gun on him. No weapon. He did not say, I'm going to kill you if you don't tell me everything you know. She literally just gives it up. She could have just been like, you know what? Fine, let's have the wedding. When do we start? That's what you do in that situation. You keep going until you find a plan. But you're really going to just sit there when you have literally no plan of escape. It's one thing to try to escape. It's another thing to know that you're in a situation where you can't escape and play games. Those were games. He really didn't need to know all that information. And it really didn't help him with his virus thing. He was going to do that, boost it up anyway. And he knew where Chris was going to go after Rebecca was captured. So her telling him all that information was useless. So in this universe, over years and years, the virus game has touched the White House, Africa, New York, some parts of Spain and Japan or China. I can't remember, whichever one is in Resident Evil 6. So what took the live action movies, 3 movies, to destroy the Earth? It literally took all the way until Vendetta to completely, I think maybe 6. I would say 6 is when it completely destroys the Earth, because 7 and 8, I don't know, 7 and 8 should be side games. Code Veronica should be a main number, and 7 and 8 have the audacity to sit up here with a straight face and have numbers next to them. Disgusting. Anyway, Cerberus returns, which Chris fumbles. Oh my gosh, he fumbles the gun so bad. There's dead air here too. Leon is sitting there staring at these dogs, and they would have already attacked him by now. In the game, they would have already killed him. But they're sitting there like, are you going to do something? Freaking, are you going to do something? And then when Chris tries to shoot them, he misses. And it's just like, Chris, are you BSAA? Are you freaking Alpha Team? Are you freaking Bravo Team? Like, what's going on? He acting real Bravo right now. B team. Like I said, I never understood how the viruses could weaken you and strengthen you at the same time. The Cerberus are running and keep up with Leon on a motorcycle. Their flesh don't tear away or nothing. You'd think that the flesh would, them going that fast, the flesh would break. I don't know how long it took Len's friends to decompose and be in a box, but we don't even see that. There is a lot of gore, but there's fuddy gore. I don't know. There's dead kids, so I would say it's horrible. But I don't know, it's hard to explain. The gore we do see looks like candy. It looks yum, I want to eat it. It doesn't look like I'm disgusted. It looks like this is very fun. I think the blood was a little too bright for me. But I don't know. By the way, while trying to kill those Cerberuses, Leon straight up murders people. Murders real people driving cars. By the way, when Rebecca fought back and he started to cry, he said he was going to replace Rebecca's arm with Sarah's, but instead of just keeping her alive, he's putting the virus in her, which made no sense. I actually thought it was going towards he's basically Frankenstein, making Frankenstein's monster, but nope. So Becky's penetrated with the D virus and starts convulsing. Chris is Chrising around, being Chris-like, and walking around, shooting cameras like it's a GTA 5 heist or something. What I will say is the two voices of Leon and Chris learn to speak the way they do. Like I said, their patterns, their voice patterns, I can tell who it is, but the voices sound too similar. Please, if you're going to get Mercer, find someone else that doesn't sound like him. I don't know if he was doing his lines on the toilet or something, but he needs to get more, Leon seemed to be lacking something. I think something's going on in Mercer's life. Someone tell me if he's okay, because he just seemed like he wasn't here for it. Maybe he's upset. I don't know. Maybe he should be getting more money because Resident Evil is hot commodity right now. Because Lady Dimitrescu. But, as I was saying, I didn't expect Becky to die. Billy, please save her. She's really close to death. The solo action sequence with Chris makes me feel like I'm actually watching competence from him at last, which of course is very swiftly ruined by Leon driving a motorcycle indoors. I can't get over how rat-like Chris is. His eyes have always seemed to be close together, but for real, if they get any closer, he's going to be a Cyclops by Resident Evil 9. I actually wasn't upset by how much the movie was dedicated to Leon, or the lack of dedication to Leon in general. He's almost like a side character, as he should be, where he belongs. But when he is on screen, they do slow-mo, like I said. like he's Riddick or something, like he's some sort of superhero that we're like waiting for and like, oh, wow, thank you so much for being here, Batman. Holy willikers, holy cow. Like, freaking, you can step off my screen. The gunfight between Chris and Glenn is silly. It's that one scene I saw a long time ago when this came out, and I was just like, wait a second, is this real? I thought someone really literally made this because it was so comical. Who thought that this was a good idea? You guys are at boner point. You are at like arm's length. You are at arm's length, and they're missing every single shot. How are they moving that fast? They made it a particular mission to explain how quick Albert Wesker moved in Resident Evil 5. How much faster he was than Jill, Chris, and Sheva. But now it seems like everybody's got Wesker powers and they could dodge bullets, I guess. And then another thing I didn't really notice. Why is Glenn not seeming like he's infected? Yeah, he's doing all these moves, but guess what? Leon is too. And is he infected? He's got antibodies, yes. But like, everyone seems to, there's no power level anymore. Everyone seems to be at this cap, and I don't like it. Just because this is an action movie, like, freaking get real, but whatever. It's hilarious. He even does the Wesker neck crack. They're like doing Krav Maga or something, or however you say it. Krav Maga. I love to see Chris be competent again. Oh my goodness, it was such a breath of fresh air. I can actually go to sleep happy tonight. He yeets Glenn down 100 stairs while Rebecca's still dying in the corner, coughing. Like, literally, they'll, like, turn to her, and then she's like, like, it's really terrible. I hate to see it, but whatever. It's hilarious. Diego, a.k.a. Bane, goes mask off, looking like a spider puss, which is like, what? That's the only thing I can say that describes what I just saw. I was guessing the Tyrant from the previews was Glenn, but I guess he pulled a Salazar and united with his left hand. If you don't know that reference, then maybe you don't know Resident Evil 4 as much as you think you do. So here comes Motorcycle Leon. I was hoping Becky would mutate and finally be useful to the heroes, but nah, she just sits there dying. Without slow-mo, Leon's tricks would look silly, just to let you guys know. It's funny. Just like Batman Arkham City, they use a chopper to tickle the beast. Like, if you guys remember Batman Arkham City, the Joker becomes this big old huge thing because he's got, like, Titan or whatever it's called. I don't remember. I'm pretty sure it's called Titan, but it's like this virus that makes him look big, and ironically, where they're at on top of that building looks just like how it looked. And I really do think y'all stole from Batman Arkham City. I really do. 100%. And I think that's why I'm getting a superhero vibe from Leon. Y'all did it. Like, stop lying. Just admit it. Just say yes, and then we can go and move on. I'm glad Leon only did a single one-liner and didn't completely take the kill away from Chris. Becky saved. All's well's end well. Love the chemistry between Becky and Chris, because guess what? Rebecca and Chris were in the first games. Leon had nothing to do with the first games. Without the first games, Leon wouldn't exist. So he needs to be kissing their feet every day. And Jill's. Twice over. And I think it's so cool that Rebecca did the thumbs up from Resident Evil 0. That was so cool, which makes me think that maybe Billy can come back. I don't know why. I just really hope that maybe one day he does. Maybe with a different name, because of course he can't. He either has to serve his sentence because he's supposedly wanted for murder, or he keeps on running. So after being cannibals for literally no reason, because this virus was not like Las Plagas, they weren't eating each other. They literally were attacking you with weapons. They were biting you, yes, but they used weapons more often than biting you. Their main objective was to kill you, not to eat you. And the virus didn't need to be fed. It was basically only for control. The zombies are turned back to humans with magic snow antivirus. I think it's interesting that, like, after you tasted flesh, you're gonna go back to human and be like, okay, I guess that's it. I guess everyone's fine. For some reason, Leon's voiceover is still talking. This isn't your movie. Literally, you were in it less than Rebecca. This was not your movie. Shut up. And then Rebecca starts coming in with her voice, but it's really her voice. And it's like, okay. So Holga, or whatever her name is gonna seek revenge on Chris and Leon when Glenn is the one who had Bane killed, and he's dead. And it ends. That's it. That's great. This one's a long one because I went really in detail because I wanted to give since it's like really fairly new, I wanted to give a very in-depth description of what happened. And I did want to apologize for assuming that she was a damsel. I don't think she's a damsel. I think she's stupid. She was stupid for screaming about how her blood was the best, and she was stupid for telling that man stuff he didn't ask for, but she wasn't a damsel. And Leon wasn't really in this as much as I thought he would have been, which I'm so happy for, but I'm not happy because guess what? He's still going to be in Infinite Darkness, so we'll see. It's a very good movie. I noticed the mouths were out of sync for a second, literally a second. I saw it and I was like, wow, 2021, but whatever. Very good animation. It's CGI or whatever, like how that works or whatnot. But let's talk about the staples. 1, horror, ambiance, music, sound, great. I didn't really even clock the music, really. I was really engaged in the story. Puzzles, no puzzles, not really. Backtracking, no backtracking. Tyrants, no tyrants really. You can say that Bane is a tyrant, but I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe he is kind of a tyrant. But if you don't want to say he is, that's fine, because I don't care. 5, different perspectives. There were different perspectives. I'm so happy that Leon was in it way less than I thought. I thank whoever made Vendetta. I know you had nothing to do with the rest of them because he was in it way less. Thank you so much. 6, zombies, virus, and BOWs. Zombies are not zombies because they don't have their own mind, but they have some form of something. It's just crazy. I don't know necessarily like what they are, other than like the Los Illuminados where they're just hosts, but they're not hosts because it's a virus. It's a virus. It's not a Las Plagas. It's not a parasite. It would have been easier to sell this if it was a parasite, but you guys, I don't know what on earth y'all were thinking with this airborne crap. 7, corporations, anti-capitalism, duh. Rebecca literally talks about, the strong taking advantage of the weak, it's sick. Like, literally, that's what your whole brand is made on. Forget anyone who says there's no politics in Resident Evil. They obviously don't know what they're talking about. 8, gameplay / action. It's very actiony. I liked the places where they were just dark and it was silent. That's what this freaking franchise was built upon. Survival horror, not action-packed, shoot 'em up, bang 'em ups. 9, continuity. They bring in a lot of stuff, but they also crap on a few things. Like I said, Chris and Leon's stories of being a drunkard, they're switched. They're freaking switched. I'm like, okay. Overall story, it was very well done. You know what? I think you might get one of the highest ratings on this marathon. It's a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. I'm sorry, like, if anyone wanted Rebecca to wield a gun, she doesn't do it. She does not wield a gun in this movie. But I understand because she explains why she's not on the field anymore. It's spoken about at the very least. Claire, however, does not deserve to be thrown in some school and told to teach snot-nosed children or adults. I don't care who she's teaching. I don't want her to be a teacher. We already have Rebecca as a teacher. Literally give Claire another objective for Revelations 3 if that's how it's going to go. Freaking, I'm telling you. Revelations 3 or Resident Evil 9 or whatever you're trying to make her some handmaiden freaking wench that teaches classes. I really don't want to see it. We already have Rebecca doing that. And she's intelligent. She's really intelligent. Not saying that Claire's not. But this girl was like at 18, a biotech or whatever. So it makes more sense for Rebecca to be a professor. But I'm done. I hope you guys liked. Subscribe if you liked. Like if you liked, share if you liked. Let's have a conversation in the comments. Did you like this whole marathon? It's now concluded. Now the next thing I will be posting will be Infinite Darkness. So cool. I really can wait. I am not excited because I know for a fact that Claire is supposedly supposed to be the same thing that Rebecca was in this movie. And she should not be following in any sort of footsteps that have Rebecca Chambers' DNA within them. Rebecca Chambers is a mixed bag of weakness and fragility. And even though this is the best case scenario in Vendetta, the way she is, Claire is on another level. Though she's not some biotech, she has full-blown experience. And I will not buy that she is shell-shocked from it either. So don't play that game either. Everyone's been through a lot. And just because she's a woman doesn't mean she has panic attacks every 2 seconds because she's been in this situation. Freaking, this is a movie. This is a survival horror game. She's important. These women matter. And I really hope that they're wrong about Infinite Darkness like they were wrong about Vendetta. I would not consider this movie a Leon Chronicle. They really tried their best to keep that crowd in. But like I said in my previous video about Darnation, that crowd stands for something more than just a regular run-of-the-mill character. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this marathon.